Hello once again. We are back with another episode of the Ancestors in Pokemon. Today's topic is thanks to the artist ZokaiOfficial, where thanks to him we will talk about the ancestors in Pokemon, ancestors of each and every one of the wonderful Pokemon of this bag that we all know. Whether thanks to its old forms in Hisu or new ones that we have created for this occasion, I think this theme is really interesting. Although before we start, I must warn you that you have a playlist with the different episodes of this section. And if you like this kind of videos and want more, please like and subscribe to this channel. With the first case of this video, I wanted to present an example that I love. Introducing Gishak, a kind of shark in the form of a piranha, which I tell you is related to 3 different Pokemon. Can anyone discover them? It's time for you to comment, let's see who gets it right. In this ancient period on the planet, the G-Shark, who had a ferocious personality, transformed into L-Shark, a somewhat inquisitive and extended shark. They would be very large. Over time, their number of species and size dimensions would decrease like it happens with the real sharks. They would adapt to warmer regions, eventually transforming from Gishak into Piranha, a type of piranha that would further evolve into Sharkle, which is actually a much smaller L-Shark. The transition from piranha to shark would be consistently upheld in the offspring line from Piranha to small shark. This lineage would continue to preserve the transition while decreasing the shark's size and increasing its ferocity towards becoming Kavana and Sharpedo. After observing the transition from a large megalodon and small shark to a piranha and torpedo shark, it is noted that the piranha and sharkle line eventually evolved into Vashanka, creating a new type of piranha. While quite aggressive, these Vashanka have an individualistic personality that seems to hinder their evolution. This line would be the earliest known form of Basculin. 2 different forms would branch off from it, but there would be no further evolution. However, if we trace the ancestry all the way back, Gishak and Allshark could take very different paths. Gishak may evolve into Garshark as they adapt to living on land in addition to the sea. This may lead to new descendants including Fishark, Mershark and Gardine, which would adapt to solid ground and develop extremities like legs and arms. Looking rather strange these days, but I'm sure you've already guessed who it is. These descendants would go on to become the ancestors of Gible, Gabate and Garchomp, another complete ancestry line that would encompass quite a few Pokemon. What do you guys think? To continue with this example, let's discuss Pokemon that share the same type and have many similarities, of which we need to find their ancestors. Hundreds of years ago, in the coldest areas of the Pokemon world, there was an endearing seal known as Splishly. A Pokemon that could have offspring can be easily identified. Please comment below with your thoughts on which Pokemon you believe would be their descendants. If this Pokemon lived in the icy regions of our planet and gradually adapted to a life of staying in caves and adjusting to the terrain, it would evolve into Pish. A really strange name that I wouldn't wish on anyone. Due to living in caves, its body would gradually adapt to these conditions, leading to its transformation into Saucial, a circular, adorable and wonderful creature. Taking this moment to say how much I adore this Pokemon in the shape of a round seal. Arriving at Sphile's ancestor produces this cute round Pokemon. If the ancestor Splishly adapted to slightly warmer waters, it would become Selkly. Selkly is more sociable and relatable to humans. Despite this, seals typically separate from their offspring. On one hand, Selkie who had stronger relationships with humans and were more affectionate would evolve into Selpup, becoming essentially domesticated seals. This lineage would eventually result in Wishcup and finally Poplio. Their ability to adapt to environments where humans are constantly present, such as circuses and areas with small children, led them to a strong commitment to bringing joy and happiness to these little ones. Their dedication to this endeavor played a significant role in their development. Now then, returning to Selkly, if this Pokemon would not adapt to the daily life of the human being and live in freedom, a small horn would start to grow on the head of Sweel, all this to cover it when defending itself, which would obviously descend into the ancestor of Seal. A pretty easy and understandable example for everyone, isn't it? And did you manage to guess them all? Although we will be in marine areas, let's explore a unique case where we encounter Ministar and Sinistar. Can you predict the 3 distinct lines of Pokemon that will descend from them? A fun challenge awaits. Despite its design and striking resemblance to a well-known Pokemon, these ancient sea stars have an unexpected connection to space. They possess a sinister psychic type, the origin of which remains unknown. These organisms adapted to marine environments, ultimately evolving into the ancestors of Staryu and Starmie. This evolution resulted in the creation of the original Staryu and Starmie being these really peculiar creatures that possess the psychic type, and that I always relate to Misty. Nostalgia is powerful. Over time, they developed brighter colors and shifted away from their sinister traits and instead acquired the water trait. If Ministar and Sinistar were not adapted to marine environments, they would likely seek refuge in rocky terrain or even caves. Yet this altered the central area of these Pokemon, causing the Jewel to transform into an eye and giving rise to Starriet and Starstar. In other words, this Pokemon could be double Starstar. It's amusing to consider these creatures would diverge into two distinct evolutionary paths. Initially, after adjusting to the rock terrain of planet Earth, they would evolve into Corustar and Crownstar. They would eventually return to the depths of the sea, having relinquished their psychic powers and transforming into completely dark creatures when using their poison. They would evolve into Prinstar, Registar, and ultimately Marnessy and Equinodern, like this video for my great pronunciation of Pokemon creatures, who would become the ancestors of Marianne and Toxapex. A really strange evolution, but these Pokemon still have many more secrets to reveal. If we revisit the section about Starriet and Starstar, we see that if this creature were to remain in the caves and concentrate all of its psychic and malicious abilities, it would ultimately transform into Unistar, a particularly unique Pokemon that would take on the form of a Unon star. The origin of Ministar and Sinistar's appearance on planet Earth remains shrouded in mystery. According to rumors, they are reverting back to their primitive form, causing the Unon star to undergo multiple transformations until it reverts to its natural state. The Unon, closely linked to space, enigmatic caverns, and omnipotent deities, are believed to be the ultimate form. A curious legend we have created in a second. I would love to know your opinion on all this. Did you manage to guess them all? The Pokemon world is full of secrets that we will never know, and which are the ancestors of these creatures is one of them, so it's time to work on the sequel. So I would like to see suggestions in the comments of Pokemon that might be related and you would like to know more about them. I thank you all for the support for my new channel. It's been really incredible. I ask you to please subscribe and like me. It helps me a lot to keep creating these videos. And of course, thanks once again to ZokaiOfficial, great artist who made all this possible. It's time to work on the next video of the channel and let me know if you want a third installment of this section.